everybody. Hello, adventurers, and welcome back to Map Maven. I am your host, Alan. I'm from the Ravenloft Misfits cast and a regular here on TalkingXP. Welcome so much to the stream. I am really excited to go checking some stuff out with you today. I do not have a guest today, but that is all right because we're going to be doing something that the guests actually might not have been able to participate in. We're going to be actually building maps for an upcoming Pathfinder one-shot that I'm running, and as many of the Ravenloft cast will be in that one-shot, it kind of would have been a little bit of a spoiler for them. And if you're here, you're going to get the inside scoop on what those maps might look like. I'll try not to spoil too much, but I still want you to be able to understand what's going on while I'm building the map. So you might get a little bit of an inside scoop here and there. Yeah, other than that, let me see if there's anything else to say on the front of some map making. You know, I'm just excited to be here. We've been doing this is, I think, our 6th stream. I'm having a really good time doing this, so if you're enjoying it, please join us in chat, like, subscribe to TalkingXP Twitch. Talk about Map Maven on Twitter, like those I always post when I'm going live on there. I'm going to start trying to post these on YouTube because I think they can work as a sort of tutorial for Dungeon Draft itself, and I think it's useful for people to know about the program. Speaking of great programs, TalkingXP is sponsored by Roll20. If you type into the chat, I think it is !Roll20, you can get information on that. We use it for all of our campaigns. I'm going to be using it for the one shot we're running. We're going to be using it for Ravenloft Misfits continuously. The other thing we are sponsored by is our lovely Sirenscape, which is our ambiance here, which I'll go ahead and, now that you've been welcomed, let's step back off the quiet of the main wharf into the quiet of our cartography shop, the Map Maven cartography shop. Yeah, Sirenscape is great. It is one click and you can create beautiful transitions sonically from one place to another to really immerse your players in the sound. Or, I mean, you can also use it for Twitch streaming just in general because it is, you know, free license. You're not having to worry about it being copyrighted music or anything like that. So those are our two. You can type !music to get information on Sirenscape. Other than that, I believe that is all our sponsors for today. Of course, then we have our aspirational sponsor, Dungeon Draft, which we are not sponsored by, but I love, and I encourage you to get, not because we're sponsored in any way or being acknowledged by them, but it's just a really great program. And if you're a DM or a game master or what have you, fantasy cartographer out there, I want you to know about this program. It will make your life so much easier, especially if you're not proficient in Photoshop. Photoshop is amazing, as are a lot of different illustration software, digital, those sort of things. And I spend a lot of time drawing maps by hand too. I love that as well. But I have yet to see something be beat for, I need a map quick as possible that's going to look good and get the job done. I feel like Dungeon Draft is the way to go, and it's really cheap. Support them. They're great. They're lovely people. As far as I know, I don't think I've ever personally met them, but I did mention like, hey, I want to do like a Dungeon Draft stream. Is that okay if I use your product? And they were like, absolutely. So they've been nice to me so far. And yeah, we're going to be doing some map making day with an actual, I think this is going to be our first time making a map with the intention I'm going to be using it for an encounter directly, because up till now we've been making theoretical maps just for fun. We've been reimagining maps that have already been seen on Ravenloft Misfits, or just doing some experimental stuff. But today, for those of you who have joined us or might be watching the VOD later, we're actually going to be making maps directly related to an upcoming Pathfinder one-shot that I'm going to be running on TalkingXP. It will be next Monday, which is what day? It is going to be the 11th. Is that correct? Let me check. The 10th, on Monday the 10th, at our normal slot for Ravenloft Misfits, we're going to be running a Pathfinder one-shot, which is a pseudo reward for having reached 10,000 streams, I think. It was on 10,000 streams on Spotify. Also, we here at Talking XP are just interested in exploring some other formats because we've been doing a D&D campaign. So we've been living in the D&D world, living in the world of Strahd, but who's to say we can't go elsewhere and see what adventure may lie there. So, yeah, if you want a complete clean slate for that one shot and you don't want any sort of spoilers, then this one isn't for you. But maybe come back, or if you're maybe watching after the stream, you can see some of that thought process. And again, I'm not going to be spoiling like big bad, but I might talk a little bit about the types of creatures we're going to see or the concepts for characters that might be involved. And I can give spoiler warnings as we go. But personally, I'm a person that I don't enjoy spoiling people, but I don't mind being spoiled for things because sometimes if I know what's coming, it helps me, or it doesn't help me. It lets me enjoy it as I'm watching because I know where the story's going and I'm enjoying the trajectory and I can sort of try and guess the trajectory as it go. That's not for everyone, so I'm not going to force spoilers on others. But I like it because I think it's a cool little window into the world that we're going to be doing, especially for something like this. You can see, oh, that's what the GM was literally thinking about when they made this map, when they made this encounter. Yeah. So without further ado, let's get into it. We're going to be starting off with our basic map. We're not going to be using a map wizard because I'll tell you this, it's not a cave or a dungeon, so we're not going to be making anything like that. 60 tiles feels a little bit large to me. I don't think we need to be working with so much space. I'll tell you right now that both maps are going to be exterior, set in sort of pseudo-nature-y ones. The first one we're going to be making is... I won't tell you what order. I think that'll be another fun way to keep it a little... We're going to be making, hopefully, 2 encounter maps today if we have time. I won't tell you what order they're going to appear in the one shot, so you won't know which one's the final conflict. But I think the first one we're going to be making today is going to be a nature shot. We're going to be in a forest. We're going to be dealing with different levels. So I'm going to be thinking about different ways to represent that in the story. But I don't think we need that much room. That's just a lot of movement because that's 10 movement. And in Pathfinder, of course, you can move more. So if you have a movement of 25, you can move multiple times in one turn. They don't break the combat down into movement, bonus action, action. Instead, it has what's called a 3-action economy, and you can use those actions for multiple attacks or multiple movements or multiple other combat actions. So it's just a different way of balancing out their encounters. So you can move more quickly in Pathfinder theoretically, but I still think this is a little large. I'm going to bring it down to, gosh, let's say 40. Because one of the creatures we're dealing with does have more decent movement. I am going to try and make this a horizontal map because usually when people are playing Roll20, playing D&D on Roll20, they're dealing with a horizontal surface. So I always try and keep the map vaguely horizontal so they could theoretically zoom out and see the whole thing. Let's take this we'll take it 40-30. Not too extreme of a skew. Let's back it out. Ooh, man, this does seem big. Let's see what that full... Yeah. How many feet is that total? That's a lot of feet. 30 times... I think this might be still too big. Because 40... Yeah, let's take that down to like maybe a 35 and a 20, I think would be better. Because this is just a lot of space. And a big map is fun if your players are going to explore it. But I find that sometimes if your map is too big, it feels like your players get stuck to each other and they're not going to be interacting with much or moving around too much. So I like to, sometimes it benefits to have a smaller map size that you're dealing with. I'm seeing I got a message on here. Oh, it's just a live stream announcement on Discord. If you haven't joined our Discord, please do. It's a lovely time. So we're going to shrink these both by 10 tiles in each direction. And I think that'll give us a little bit. Yeah, that seems reasonable. Because what's the full distance? There are 36 squares. So if we're You could move fast across that, but that's over. If you're only moving once per turn, that's over 6 turns of movement. So that's a long distance already, but I think that's good because I'll tell you right now, some of the creatures, maybe more than one, in this encounter do have the ability to fly. So they can also move faster. They're not going to be dealing with terrain. So we're going to want to have enough room for them to maybe move around and get away from our characters, but we don't want our characters getting lost in a sea of the environment. This is going to be a forest scene because we're dealing with some forest critters, and it is going to be the den of sort of the big mama critter, who is easily the most dangerous thing, though not necessarily the big bad of the one shot. They are definitely the most threatening physical presence. So we're going to be making essentially their den, which I like the idea of it being a loft, sort of like nest up in a tree. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to build the encounter around the central nest. And I can't quite decide if I want to center it right in the middle so the characters can get around it, and I'll give them some levels to get up and around and some cover options between trees and such, or if I'm going to put it maybe on one side or one up and then the players are sort of down in a gully. I think that could also be interesting, because if we put it maybe here, we could put a ridge up around the back of that main tree, around the loft of the creature, and then maybe there's like a ridge up around the back of the tree as opposed to it being right in the center. I kind of like that idea. So let's just start blocking some stuff out. I'm going to grab a tree to mess with to be our main nest. Let's just grab this guy for now. This is not going to be our final thing. But I think putting this guy right about here to play with, let's just block some stuff out. So if we have it either a ridge of like that, and it kind of comes around the back of the tree. So that explains why our characters are staying down like in the gully, but they could get up here and maybe it's a higher ridge. I really like that. I like the idea of maybe it's up against a cliff face. So you can get up onto the cliff face, but they'd have to be doing some climbing checks, but that would give them an option for how to get level with the nest, because I'm thinking the nest is probably going to be, I'm thinking 20 to 30 feet off the ground. 20 feels a little bit better, because if it's 30, there's no way the players are going to be able to get up there in a combat efficient speed unless they have a ability to fly themselves. And I think that gives them an option of, also, why build a nice nest in a tree if you have to have the monster get down from it, which the monster probably will get down from it at some point, but I want it to be possible that the creatures, the characters can get up to it. And I think the idea of having like a multi-layered ridge back here of like a mountain cliff face that it's sort of nestled up into, I think that's nice. Yeah, so let's play with that idea. Kind of roughed out, and then there'll be a couple other trees up here that they could possibly climb up to. I'm trying to think if we want anything else directly in this environment. I definitely want some evidence of previous kills from the monster, because maybe that's how they found out where it is. They've been tracking it through the forest. I think that could be fun. Yeah, I think that's what we're going with. I need to decide how big I want to make this. Now this monster, I'm gonna have to do a quick Google to make sure I have the exact size right, because it's a pretty big creature. It's definitely not a medium creature by any means. Let's see. This is, yeah, this is the correct one. Okay, so its size is, where's its size? Low light perception. So check its fly speed. Yeah, it has a 60-foot fly speed, so that's a pretty fast creature, but it definitely can take one turn. So it's going to have complete control of the map, pretty much be able to get wherever it wants in its turn. I'm going to say that this is a, let me me double check this, because that is not telling me the correct information. Let's do a double check. Let's see what this one says. Oh, this says it is medium. Okay, so maybe it's a little bit smaller than I'm imagining, but it is rideable. I will tell you that. It's rideable for like a medium creature, so I was imagining it would be a little bit bigger. Yeah, but okay, so maybe we can get around. It can still be like a pretty big nest, right? Because if it's nested up in there and it's a medium to large creature, we're definitely going to have to give it some room to move around in there. So let's go ahead and mock some of that out. I think it will have built this up with branches. I actually have a little nest. I wonder how that looks. Ooh, we're on the wrong thing. Where's my nest? Yeah. So I wonder if we can just like blow that up and that'll give us a nice little base. That's not the button I wanted. There we go. I mean, that doesn't look terrible. I think we can certainly start with that and then build onto it. Yeah, I wonder if what would happen if we just do like, let's just do some experimenting. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty effective, honestly, and we can add on to that with some other branches and stuff. Put that in there, and then the tree can continue up from it, because it's up in, I imagine it kind of like an eagle's nest, where it's a very broad thing, quite up toward the top of the tree. Yeah, that's not terrible to start off with. And then we'll throw in some other trees, we'll throw in some corpses, and get going. Okay, let's go ahead and start actually making this thing. Let's start actually putting this thing together. Okay, so I'm gonna delete this, delete those, and then I am going to get the path tool, and I'm going to start building up this ridge line. Now, do I want to do the ridge line with my materials brush? Not that one. This one? That looks more of a ridge downward, like it's a pit. This one's a little hard to tell if it's a pit or it's a, I assume it's a pit because the shadows are inside of it as opposed to on one side. So let's go ahead and take our ridge line, and let's move us into some nature, some pleasant nature. Though this may not be a pleasant nature scenario. We're not making anything too spooky, so let's just do some of that. Path tool. We're gonna go ahead and grab this guy, our handy dandy. This is probably one of my most used tools. I love using this tool in different creative ways to create like encounter spaces and pseudo mountains. It just works really well. That's too big. That's too big. Go away. Okay, so let's drop that down to let's take it to a 3. Yeah, so that's indicating that that ridge is probably about 10 foot high, which is like, that's a climbing check for sure. And then we'll just kind of let it organically create. Well, you know what we could do? We could also, we do want to have that space up behind it. Maybe like that. And maybe we'll take it and scoot it down to about here. I like that. So that we have enough space for the characters to get up behind it. If they choose to climb the mountain, this will be a fun experiment in me being very clear about like, this is what I intended this to be, and seeing whether or not anyone actually uses it that way. I think going like this could be cool. Show that ridge line like meets up like that. And then maybe another one right there. And then we'll do, maybe there's like a little pass up here. So we'll have this one come in from this side. Maybe it like gets kind of close. Let me undo that. I like the idea of like, I kind of like that shape though. So I do not like that. redo. Delete, delete. Let's have it come like here, and then down there, and then it bends up and away. Cool. And then we can move this one. Kind of rotate it to bring it in a little bit more. Yeah, so we can see the beginning of like that pass backwards. Because that could be an option, is like maybe on there. Oh, that would be a fun thing. And if in maybe the encounter of like trying to find this nest, if they find this path, they can kind of like sneak up on it. I like that idea as a nice advantage for like a good roll. I like creating ways that it's a good way to account for like not railroading your characters without necessarily giving them a plethora of choices, where it's like you actually doing better on that survival check or doing better on that cartography check actually has a direct practical benefit to the game. You're able to find a secret passage through the mountainside, which is allowing you to get there in a little bit more of a sneaky way. Cool. Okay, I like this as like a basic, feels a little bit organic. It doesn't feel too complicated. Yeah, also I like the idea as like maybe this is a pathway that the creature might use, as like maybe there's a like a little cave system back here that they make their way through. Let's go ahead and there we go. Yeah, because that's a nice little promontory, is that term? A promontory that they could get onto so they can get over to the nest. And then let's go ahead and look at our tree options. Because I want to make this a layered tree so that we can see, I do like a dead tree. I think I'm going to go with a dead tree, because I will tell you this for free, audience. The game is going to be Ravenloft inspired. I have kind of been pitching it to the group as like an alternative reality Ravenloft, since they're actually going to be playing characters that might look a little familiar to some of you, but reimagined in a Pathfinder setting. So I like the idea of this enormous dead tree. Honestly, yeah, I just like this. And let's have this. I like the idea of this branch lining up right with that part. So it's like a suggestion that it's like an easy crossing point if they can get that high up. I like that a lot. Okay. Is that shadow on? Oh, it kind of is. Okay, it looks good with the shadow. Okay. Then let's take a couple other trees and we'll make these smaller. We'll probably do scatter tool there. And we're going to take those, because I do think that's the biggest one, but we should have some other big boys in there. So let's put this up to a 2.5. Let's see what that gives us. I'm not mad about it being that big. I could see it being a little smaller though, because I do want this one to feel like the obvious. You know, they went specific. The creature sought out the biggest tree in the forest for sure. That one's just, I think, a little bit. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, let's get rid of these boys. And then let's do these kind of on the edges. Because these trees are, of course, also going to provide cover for our people as they're sneaking their way in. We'll put some on the ridges, too. Yeah, I like that. And then let's put this one maybe right there. I like that. And then I kind of want to get rid of this bigger tree because we don't need that one. And then I'm just going to scatter some of these smaller trees around the base. So there's some options there. Yeah, I like that. I'll go ahead and throw one of those. Yeah, maybe one of these right here. Oh yeah, it could be kind of covering that little thicket. Okay, I like this. I like this very much. I think that's a good little base to be working with. Let's go ahead and touch up our terrain, since it's not quite, you know, dirt is very Ravenloft, but it's not very inspirational. And I feel like Strahd really should talk about getting a gardener for, you know, just somebody to do some general upkeep around. He's really letting the place go to seed, in my opinion. Beatrice's opinion too, probably. But I wouldn't consider her much of like a plant person. Ooh, dead grass. I mean, that's still pretty green, so I might break this up. Gravel, dirt, cracked earth, sand. I like it, but it's a little too gray for me, so I think we're going to use the swamp. Maybe we do accents with dry grass. So let's shrink our brush size. Maybe even lower the intensity a little bit. And let's do smooth blending. Do we like this, or would we prefer it? Smooth blending in this, I can never quite decide which one. I think it's a circumstantial thing, which one really looks better. Because sometimes I feel like the smooth blending just looks a little too airbrushy and doesn't graphically actually make as much sense when you see it on the map. Because grass doesn't airbrush, you know, it is little bits and bobs of grass that pop up. So in a way that kind of looks more realistic. You know what? I think I do need to zoom out a little bit, just so I know it. I know I love being far away from a map, but I think it helps me get a better picture of what it looks like. Let's go ahead and... What's our other options? We have swamp, rocky, sandstone, dirt, grass. What would this one look like? That's a little rich. I think it should be pale to feel like Ravenloft. Let's lower the intensity. Intensity too low. The idea of maybe around the base of the trees there's a little bit of green. Because I feel like when grass is in a particularly... Greenery tends to do a little bit better in like the nooks and crannies where it's not getting constantly trampled by animals, or is, you know, it's getting some protection from the tree itself. So I think that makes sense to be it kind of bunched around the trees and in like in the edges of the rock here. Not too much, not too much. And definitely some around the main tree. I gotta put some blood pools around the main tree too. That'd be fun. Yeah, that looks nice. That's coming together. You know, you just kind of keep loosely painting it in. Nothing too crazy. Give it a little jiggle to make it kind of come in as it wants to come in. Can't be too eager with it, you know. Your little brushes are a little shy sometimes. I think we need something a little bit right there. I think that'll be maybe like where our mound of corpses is. Every good campaign needs a mound of corpses, and you know, if you don't have that, really, what are you doing? Are you even really engaged with the setting if you don't have a mound? I love doing little clicks because I feel like that helps like build it in between the different spaces a little bit more organically. I just want a little bit of green. Let's put some green up here too, up into the rocky cliff face. And then I think we'll also take this out of that swampy look and make it more rocky up on the cliffs. Though there can still be green coming through. Ooh, I like that. That looks really nice and plotchy. Splotchy. Like there's just little bits of grass fighting to survive this horrible, horrible place. I love a horrible place. Because if it's not horrible, what adventure are we having? I mean, I guess you can have an adventure about everything being lovely and fun, but adventures about everything being lovely and fun usually aren't as fun as you're overcoming great evil. I like this. That's working. It's a little bit more green. Yeah. I mean, I have to say, I mean, you can run a game. It's honestly something I struggle with. I want to challenge myself to run more silly, just fun games instead of games of high stakes, because I tend to default to deep emotional stakes, the meaning behind them. And I feel like there's something really admirable in being able to just tell a fun story that doesn't need to mean anything more than that. That's just a fun story. I think, especially, I write a lot of fantasy, and I think it's something I need to get better at doing. Because I think it's a really important skill to have. because fantasy and D&D and any sort of tabletop game, Pathfinder, these are games. They're meant to be fun. They're meant to be for friends to have fun together as a group. So if people aren't having fun, what are we doing here, bud? You know? Okay. I like these little growths of green. Put some over here. I think that looks pretty good. Okay, let's go ahead and get our gravel. Is this going to be our best bet? Let's increase the intensity here. Don't like how that looks. So let's try... Well, I guess I could have left it on. Let's try rocky. Rocky looks pretty mountainous. I usually like using the rocky tool to indicate like rocks and mountains and that sort of thing, as opposed to one of the other tools, because it also kind of matches this path tool a decent amount. Not perfectly, but it looks all right. And I think I want to grab some dirt or something to also kind of texturize down here. I'm going to just put some of that in, and then I'm going to change it between a couple things and see what looks best. So we have dirt, gravel. That looks pretty good. It looks like scattered stone, which is nice. Rocky? Nah, not rocky. Sandstone? No. Sand? No, I think void? What? We always need a void. I think terrain rocky looks good because it's just kind of naturally scattering some rocks, which we could also do with the object tool, but my goodness, that's a lot of work. So I think just doing like some little clicks through. Hope this clicking noise isn't driving everyone insane. And then we can even go up onto the actual cliff face we've built too. Just a couple in here too. Yeah, that looks awesome. Breaking it up a little bit more. Yeah, and then we'll put some of this in here too. Break it up, make it look a little bit more natural. Texture is a beautiful thing. You know, it's one of those things that you can start with just a flat color, and if you just keep adding layers and layers of texture, you have to be careful it doesn't get too complicated, but generally there's a pretty wide margin before you are overdoing it. I think that looks great. I mean, I can even show you. We're going to throw a little bit of lighting on here, and that's going to look pretty dang convincing as we get going. We just throw like a little big old wash. Yeah. You know, we're not going to be using this color, but even just adding in that little bit of depth and darkness, those textures are really looking nice. Okay, so we've got this. Let's go ahead and do let's do some corpses. Let's put some bodies in here. So these are going to be pretty fresh, because this monster has not been active for very long. I think we'll have some like little people and then some animals. I don't know if they've got so much. Ooh, that's pretty tiny. I think this is just, they've been maybe just being tossed out of here. Let's put them on layer 2. I think they'll be maybe like somebody up in a tree. That'd be cool. Yeah, some locals, some animals. Do we have some creatures? This is like dead little. We don't really have so much dead creatures here. So let's look at skeleton, I don't think. I mean, there could be some skeletons of animals. We could also add these in after the fact. We'll take a look. I definitely want, there's some insect stuff going on here as well. So I think I'm probably going to build a hive into, I feel like this would be a good spot for maybe the hive up on the wall here. Like a nasty thing. Let's see if we can just put some bodies out though. Let's scatter tool some corpses, you know? It just really makes the work of showing the decimation of a town so much easier. And we are going to be using mainly humans since it is a Ravenloft inspired setting. Though there's always room for something different. I'm going to put that guy over there. That guy's going to be too big. And then I'll put, that one's like up in that tree. He's been thrown there. Put this body here, maybe. Like the idea of like, I don't want too many people. You know, this is a pretty small area that this game is taking place in. So it wouldn't make sense for there to be a ton of corpses around, but a decent, you know, there was probably like 1 or 2 people living in the forest who have been targeted by this animal. And then we're gonna go ahead and use this, I think, to make a hive. But we're gonna soup it up so it doesn't look like a spider web. So what I'm gonna do here, let's go ahead and zoom in. I like the idea of it just kind of being built. Let's see, what is a good way to do this? I mean, we have those eggs, which I think is a good place to start. Let's do a browse. See if I can find anything that really inspires me for this. For my nasty, nasty hive. It's nice. I think what my imagination is telling me to use the nests or the webs. Oh, hi. Hello there in the comments, Nonchalant Skeleton. The concept of this encounter is there is a large flying beast that is being tracked down to its nest in the forest. So it's made a nest up in this area. But there's a little couple minions that are working out of a hive as well. So I'm not sure, Nonchalant Skeleton, are you a viewer on Ravenloft Misfits? Are you planning to tune in for the one shot? I don't want to tell you spoilers if you don't want spoilers, but I can be more specific. Your message, I think, is coming through in a second. Oh, hi, Nonch. Well, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. We love a first timer. Well, I can tell you a little bit. So I'm going to be using spoilers if you don't want to know what the creature is. I'll raise my hand when I stop saying the exact. Yeah, the game will be on at 7 p.m. Pacific time on Monday. Next Monday. So would you like a spoiler, Nonchalant Skeleton, or would you like me to keep it to myself? You want to know? Okay, so I'm going to be using a modified Periton, I think is the way, or Periton, I think is the way you describe it's called. It's a mixed beast monster, yay, Pacific time, that is usually depicted with the head of, it's a mix of beasts, so it's like depicted with like the tusks of an elk, but it like has like a beak for ripping out the hearts of its victims, and it has like it's one of those like kind of chimera-esque creatures. I'm gonna be changing up what monsters it is, but it still functions the same way, where it's a flying carnivorous animal that's made a nest in this tree and has been like preying on people of the forest. Yeah. Yes, it's a good monster. I'm excited to see what it is. So I'm thinking it's probably picked up some prey around, and then I'm gonna have some blood seekers as well as the little minions. If you're familiar, they're basically like big nasty mosquitoes. So I'm thinking that those have got a little nest over here, which I feel like a little hive would work the best, like actually a beehive looking shape. Thank you so much. I'm really happy with it. You know, once we get the lights on there, I think it's going to look really good. I think this map is a little bit simpler than the other one that we're going to build, but let's see if we can find something to make this hive out of. Let's see. Oh, that might be, I don't know. That could, if we get creative with that, we might be able to make something out of that. Thank you so much for joining us. Skeleton, it's fun to have a little guest on here talking to. If you want to keep chatting, I'm down to keep chatting. Tell me if you have it. Are you a dungeon master or anything like that? Do you make any maps of your own? That might be useful. for the response to come through. It doesn't load as fast on there. Maybe I should pull it up on my phone. No, you're not distracting right now. No worries. I'll keep building as you go, though, but let's see if that'll pull up the chat faster. You're a DM and a player. Yeah, great program. Do you still use this program predominantly, or do you use something else? I think we're gonna grab some barrels. I'm just kind of grabbing anything that's round to see if I can turn it into a shape that works. Maybe one of these? I could change the color on those as well to maybe make it work a little bit better. I think these are going to be useful. We're definitely going to have to grab some thorns. I like the idea of putting a thicket somewhere too. Oh, Incarnate. Yeah, I'm familiar. I haven't used Incarnate. Incarnate is a lot more intense. You can get a lot of really specific... I mean, that's for like maintaining a whole world. Like it feels kind of like a wiki page, doesn't it? Where you... A wiki page, is that how people say it? A wiki page. World maps. Yeah, the world maps are definitely... That is beyond the scale that Dungeon Draft is really meant to handle. I'm sure you could import assets to make that work, but I don't think it would be ideal. Oh, that could also work. Maybe something like that. I just like the weird kind of geometric shapes. Let's see what happens if we put this on layer 1, like it's hanging under the tree there. I mean, I feel like we can make that work. I like the idea of starting with that. Or maybe this little pyre. Let's put that on layer 1. We'll drop it under there. Oh, that's something. Yeah, that looks weird and organic. Okay, we'll take that, and then we're gonna layer it with this guy. Let's put that also on layer 1. I love a world map. I definitely, like, if I had to choose scales, I try to build a big world map. I actually usually use Photoshop for that. And then I will build obviously encounter maps are great. And then I'll do region maps. So I'll do like world map, country map, which is the same and usually both in Photoshop. And then I'll do regional maps. So I never get as specific as a tan. Well, hi there, Levi. Thanks for joining us. Thank you. I like that too. It's kind of giving this weird, creepy little thing here to work with. I think it needs to be bigger because these creatures, I believe Bloodseekers are like... I mean, I think they're a medium or a small. Hey there, Levi. Thanks for joining us. Levi may be actually joining us on a stream at some point in the future if I can convince him to come on with me. But today we're just going to be building this little guy. I like this. I think that's a really nice start. I think it looks weird. I think it looks organic. I would believe it if somebody said, oh, that's a hive. I think that works. And I think that's big enough for a decent little amount. Hey, there you are. Photoshop can be a lot of work. I think one day I'm also going to do a stream maybe to talk about my Photoshop process. As long as you have a good set of brushes that you're familiar with what's in there and is going to give you what you need, it's not as hard as you think. It's kind of can be similar to what you get out of a dungeon draft. So I'd love to do one of those. Yeah, no, she's Levi. She's a poor sacrifice for staging. We need to show that these are monstrous little creatures. That's what the players are going to do. They're going to help these people. Look, Levi, there's also people over here. What about them? Yeah, I'll do a Photoshop one. Now that I've gotten my feet wet, I'll try and do like a little Photoshop one. I think that'll be fun. I'd love to show off. I love to show off. Who am I? No, but I'll show you how I build one of those. Yeah, that looks good. I like that. We got some corpses. Let's get some critters in here. What is our best way to do creatures? I mean, I guess we could just get some of these and imply they're dead. I think that implying death. We're gonna help them as much as we can by making this a horrific encounter. That's huge. We don't need... Well, what size is it? Now, this is we know how big this is. I feel like it's more likely to have been able to take some pigs and some sheep. I don't think it would have been able to get, even if it could have killed maybe a cow or an ox, I don't think it would have been able to carry them. Oh, thank you so much. Somebody just gifted, I believe, subs is what you gifted. I'm not super familiar with all that, but like, we'll throw on a pig or two. Let's put them under. Let's say that these are like, put one. No, that guy wouldn't. Well, this guy maybe is like, yeah, I like the idea of there being some up under tree. Let's just drop a couple and then we'll figure out their fate later. I love the idea of there being some ravens on the trees. Some ambient ravens. Who doesn't love an ambient raven? Also, these creatures, ravens are too small to be prey for these creatures, so it would make sense that they still might be hanging out. So we'll just throw some of them on some of these trees. You know, just maybe this guy's like over here picking at this corpse. Poor guy. Poor sad human. Not having a great time. Is this a hawk? No, it's a pigeon. I love that they got pigeons. Flying pigeon. Ah! Yeah, we'll put, ooh, I actually really love the idea of this one. I love the idea of these like birds just like picking at because that's what happens when you have like a big predator. Scavengers follow very close behind. So we'll have a couple of these. Maybe this one's been left alone. The birds are a little scared to get that close to the tree because that's right underneath. We'll actually move this guy. Oh, maybe actually, like maybe this guy's actually caught on the branch of the main tree. High stakes. And maybe they're still alive. Maybe they're the person that it's like, they might get saved, but they're like, you gotta run that encounter pretty carefully to like have that person survive. Like that. Up here. Yeah. Look at this poor man down here. Oh God. That cracks me up. His little face, he's just spread eagle in the tree. Okay, we'll go to, let's get him some blood. Let's make sure he's, you know, got some viscera. Well, first let's put a little bird nest somewhere. For this guy, this one, he's just hanging out. He's just hanging out in here over, let's make it a little bit bigger. Put it right at the nook right there, and then we'll take this one and put him on the front. That's his little nest. He's just hanging out. And then let's put another one here. Oh, it is very Prometheus. Yeah, Ed. What would be... I do always love that story. I always feel bad for the guy. It was like a classic example of like a mythology where it's like being a good person is bad. Don't do that. It was so brutal. Poor guy was just trying to be nice and help out poor humans, and said he got tied to a cliff face. You know, serves him right. How dare he? He really should have stayed in line. Let's go over here to our blood tag. Oh, that's not red enough. This is fresh. This poor man died recently. He's probably, you know, they're probably following his screams through the forest. Isn't that fun? That's what bothers me. But like Prometheus really was just like a good guy who like liked humans, and they just fucked him up. Let's just put that right there. If I get real specific, maybe I can figure out a way to like use some of those tentacle shapes to make it look like his organs are coming out. Of course we're gonna try and do that. Why wouldn't I do that? Let's go to creature. Let's grab. This is so gross. Okay. We're gonna take this and we're gonna trust me. We're gonna shrink this down, and it's gonna look like little horrible, awful. I can never pronounce that correctly. Being ripped out of his body by these terrible little things. Let's try and use the ones where we don't see too much of the yellow. That one. This kind of looks horrible and organ-like. If it's covered mainly by birds, we can make it work. And then also, you know, I bet these eggs would do nicely. These eggs would do nicely for human organs, I say. sorry. Sorry if this is inappropriate. I should have warned. There's I'm a nasty person when it comes to creating horrible shapes. So if you're not a fan of gore and viscera, I apologize. I am. Am I a forever DM? I mean, I guess I'm a forever DM in that I really like DMing. It's actually my preference. I prefer DMing to being a player. I have DM'd and been a player before. I'm actually a player in the Curse of Shawn campaign that is run on Ravenloft Misfits or on TalkingXP. So I have played. I've enjoyed the opportunities. Yeah, for me, it's like about the world building. I've also noticed that when I play, I get a little bit more, how do I put it? Concerned about winning in a way. And I feel like I get a little bit, not my main character syndrome, but I really want the plans to work. And I can be very, which I hope I don't come across this way in Ravenloft Misfits. But I really want to win. I really want the plan to go correctly, and I don't like failing, which sounds silly. Like, of course, nobody likes failing. But I don't have to deal with that when I'm a DM because I want to lose. I want the players to beat me when I'm the DM. So I feel like a lot more comfortable. I just feel a little bit more comfortable on the back of the screen. And I've also been a player for a really long time. Or not a player. I've been a writer for a really long time, so it's like a little natural between the two thing. Let's just put a little pool of blood down there because he's just, you know, maybe a little blood spurt over here. It's so silly. I think to be a DM, at least in this kind of game, you have to have a little bit of an instinct for gore. Yeah, that's nice. We'll put a little blood patch under these poor little creatures as well. Where do we want those? I mean, I think we got those 3 there. We got that guy there. What was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 humans and 3 livestock. I'd actually trade a human. This is too many humans. So let's cut this guy. Let's trade that one out for like this sheep. And we'll put that there, and then, because I like the idea of it being like maybe they found a sheep farm. So we'll have a couple more sheep, and then we'll have 1 pig. Honestly, that's probably enough. This is not, it's a big creature, it's a predator. Yeah, I write fantasy stuff. I actually just had my debut come out. I wrote a short story for this comic book. Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves. It was a tie-in with the movie that just came out, and I wrote a short story for it, which, you know, it's a Dungeons and Dragons comic book, so it's very fantasy. So that's kind of like the big stuff I write. I do a lot of comic book work. That was my debut, but hopefully more in the future. Yeah, I think I like that. I like, maybe we'll cover him up a little bit so it looks less like he's standing perfectly stock still. We'll put this one. We'll just put this one maybe against this tree here. Let's move him to the front. Let's just put that on front, and we'll, like, he's just been like cracked up against the side of this tree, like it was flung. Because I'm imagining the creature's like eating them and then like throwing them off from the branches, and then they're landing about around the ground. So let's put this one like there. And let's add a little bit of blood. Just a little bit of blood. So, here we go. We'll do like a blood spurt from where it like impacted. Let's do like that. What am I doing? Why do I stay so far away? Why do I keep everyone at a distance? You know? We'll go ahead and throw some blood on there. Maybe we'll grab a couple intestines. See, it's bad. I get so excited about it. I just get so delighted by the idea of being a little bit gross. Where are they? They're creature. Creature. And then we'll grab the tentacles. You know, honestly, I think those eggs might have been like a little bit more efficient. So I'll just throw some of those like there. That looks awful. That looks so gross. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, and I'll throw some of those also on these guys to show that they've been like ripped open. You know, it is what we is. It is what it is. We're just trying to show some really horrific imagery for ambience. As some people play video games, some people create horrific images that will leave their friends scarred for a long time for the sake of fun. And I don't think there's anything wrong with there's nothing wrong with either one, in my opinion. Wow, this is surprisingly effective. It's upsetting how effective this is. We'll do just over under. Dang, we really need like a couple different layers going on here. It's starting to get a little bit complicated. Let me just move that out of the way. And then we'll bring this to the front. I know if you're saying it's out of stock, I think it was being stocked at like Barnes and Noble, and I heard that, what was it called? What's the other one? Walmart. One of the largest stores in the world, if you've heard of it, Walmart. It's a cute indie store. But I think they had it in stock. I don't know. I mean, but that would be a matter of, having to go around to different places and seeing where they've got it or where they don't have it. So that's a little bit more of a trek. Oh, is she on layer 2? She's running away from me. She's on layer 2. Let's put her on layer 1. Also, I feel like they don't need shadows. Yes, Barnes & Noble is still out there. Were we worried about it? I mean, I guess brick and mortar is always a risk, but I mean, they're pretty big, corporation. I like this one. It's got its stuff is coming out its back. Uh-oh. I thought of it. Now I have to do it. Let's get some bones. Maybe its spine's ripped out. What is wrong with me? Okay. Yeah, we'll just shrink because it's small. That's like a large creature's tail, so let's just make it a little bit smaller there. I thought this map would be so simple, and here I am just detailing out gruesome deaths of NPCs who have no name. They don't have a name yet. I literally typed NPC in here. I don't know who they are. They're expendable. Let's make that bigger. Yeah. Truly, there we go. Let's shrink that down. Should we change? This feels pretty this feels very graphic for like a nice little. Let's change this over to some spooky music, because I feel like that would be more appropriate given the atmosphere I've created. This horrific atmosphere. And let's send that to back, and then we'll just put that underneath him. There we go. There's a lovely pool of blood. Yeah. Who could ask for more, really? Okay, let's build our actual nest here. Now that we're actually here, so we'll take this guy. We'll make him super big. Because they do nest like, an eagle is actually a pretty good comp for them in terms of like, they're very high up on the, what's it called? The food chain. And they're violent predators that eat, they're carnivorous. So I feel like it would need to be a little bit bigger than this at the base. It's okay. We'll start building it up with, we'll go to tree, and then we can start building it up with these vines as well. You know what, we should put this on layer 2. We should build this nest on layer 2 to make our lives easier. That's what it's all about. Dungeon Draft is all about making your life easier. So we'll start building it up with just like branches. I don't know if that branch is a great fit, so we'll probably grab a different one. Yeah. Ooh, I like the way that one looks. Let me get rid of this one because it just looks so awkward. It just really looks awkward on that tree. You know, I don't feel like this Peloton was really thinking through its internal design, its interior design choices when it chose that particular branch. Yeah, that one looks nice. Take that one. Take some of these. No, not that way. And then we'll probably throw a couple more on top here. Just to give it a little bit more texture, like it's a bunch of twigs thrown together. Yeah, I'm gonna honestly just keep throwing that around. I'm gonna take this big one that I put on. I'll move that to the back. Ooh, yeah, that's starting to look like something. Okay, I wonder what it looks like without that. Sure, I love it without that. But I think there might be another way to do that, and I think it looks better because this looks so, it doesn't look, because of the size, it's not, it doesn't quite work. It just doesn't expand big enough for my taste. Like it needs to sort of, you know, it's meant for a smaller ratio. So, ooh, my hand slipped. We just keep building it up this way. And then we can, no, that guy's too big. Just keep building up. And then I think what we're gonna do here is maybe, let me do a quick scroll on through, because I bet there's something that we can add below that will look more convincingly like a nest than what we're dealing with right now. Oh, honestly, maybe one of our little fire pits or like the thing we use to make the hive could work. Let's keep scrolling. Some loose lumber. No, that looks like rope. That we already have that guy. Let's keep scrolling. I mean, I do like this. Honestly, I want that. I want that somehow. I'm gonna hold on to it. I don't think it's gonna be the full base, but I do think it'll be useful to us. And then let's see what else we can do. I feel like that's gonna be too regular. But we could layer it with this. I feel like that would help fill it in a bit. Well, let's also see what happens if we just take this, send it to the back, and put it under. I'm not mad about that. I'm not mad about it. It doesn't look super comfy, so I feel like we need some more like down and feathers. Also, what is that shape? What is that one that's like, this guy doesn't look great. Let me get rid of him. That honestly is probably a good start. I might take some, like, because birds also, you know, add in thatching and stuff like that. Maybe find some softer goods to add in as well. Maybe I just put a gaping maw. Why don't, you know, maybe there's just a gaping maw on the tree. That seems kind of cool. That does give me an idea though. Maybe I put a hole in the top of the tree that's underneath it, but I don't know if I need that. I don't know if I need that. You know, this is a one shot. We don't want to overthink it. That could be a cool, like, little layer inside, but I don't think we need that. Oh, my volume's a little low. I can increase my volume. That's no problem. Is this a little bit better? I've got my volume up. Please continue to let me know if it's a problem. Ooh, that's a good thing. That could be good. We could use this as like a base, maybe. I'll put that aside. Thank you for letting me know, nonchalant skeleton. Okay, yeah, I think we'll just put in some of these little bits here, and we'll put those under and over. Let's get rid of that. We'll add some of this fluff in around. Let's go on our scatter tool. That's going to be hay, probably, for our search. Yeah, there we go. And then we can scatter in probably just these guys. Whoop. Let's shift. No, I don't want all of them. Wonder why hay brought up that. Sailor hat. Oh, it's just close. We'll use that to soften our our border, and then we're also going to go over the top. Oh, let's go to over layer 2. And then we'll... Is this rotating for us? There we go. Some of that, patching that in. So it looks like a little comfy... Who wouldn't want to be in this horrid comfy nest? That's down, down, and then we'll add that in. Let me maybe shrink this so we're not seeing... I mean, I'm not seeing too much of it hanging out around the sides. It doesn't bother me too much. Honestly, at that angle, I don't think I can see anything. So we'll just move some of these. Oh, we need to send this to the back. So that... What happened there? Why are all these on different layers? Oh, I know. Okay, so this is on layer 2, but some of our guys down here are on layer 1. So I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to go to layer 1 and just select these to get them on the correct. Go away. Go away, tree. Let me zoom out. Let's go and select this guy and that guy and that one. This is the part where I just talk to myself while selecting minute things. And we're going to go ahead and move to layer 2. Got it. And then we're going to send them to the back. There we go. So now they should be under the nest, but over top of this dirt layer that we're going to have. Yeah, there we go. I think I could even stand to add more of those, but let's back up a little bit. These look a little bit patchy to me. They don't look intentional in the way I want them to be. So let me just group some of those up. Because they'd be mainly maybe kind of centered. Maybe like this. That's not bad. I like that. Okay. Let's see what else we can add into here. I think there should be some more soft product. I mean, part of me just wants to put like one of these underneath it, but I don't like the idea of getting rid of the base of the nest entirely. Because if we go like this over, let's just see what happens if we get rid of our dirt and replace it with this. That might be better. Thoughts in the chat? Anyone have an opinion of which one looks better, this guy or that guy? Because I kind of like it that way too. Looks like the soft mulch and just like feathers and down that get mixed into the nest over time. Let's see, we got an opinion coming through. Yeah. I'm seeing some. I think the hay looks better. If there is an alpha channel for these stamps. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Can you use both with 1/7? Oh, I don't think there is a way to do a transparency on here. My understanding is that these... I don't think I can do a transparency. But I wonder if there's a way to fudge it. I mean, I kind of like the idea of maybe this one sent back. Let's put this on layer 1. And then let's bring it to front. And then let's bring the hay to front. So we're getting a little bit of both in that. Yeah, I was thinking about that too. I was thinking about that would be a really nice thing to add if they had a transparency function, but I don't think they do. No, I don't believe they do. But that's nice. I like this. What layer are you on? Let's bring you to layer 2 and let's get in here. Get in there. Get in on the party. Little bits of hay. Yeah. Looks nice and organic. Yeah, I mean, zooming out. It always takes a minute. I think that's why I like working zoomed out. Because when you zoom in, you forget that there are details that you're not going to be able to see a lot of the time. I mean, that looks really good. I think We definitely want to add in some brush around here. I would definitely like to have some brush, you know, and some loose plant life. I want to also add some stuff in to the nest, possibly, that maybe it's picked up some things that to build that it maybe shouldn't have, like little wooden statues or something that it picked up, or things of that nature. Oh, we could also do a horse. That seems like a lot. Let's not do the horse. Oh, it would probably not be able to carry the horse also. That would be a big thing for it to grab. Let's shrink this down. Maybe this is some totem it stole from a nearby little home, little protective thing. We'll take this. Let's change the color. I like the idea of it being purple. Maybe that won't stick out so much. Let's customize. Let's take it like really purple so it pops a little bit. And then we'll put that, I think I'll put it underneath some of the hay. So I'll put it here. I'll actually drop it back down to layer 2. Or no, maybe I'll leave it on layer 3 and I'll just add more hay. So it'll be like right, I like the idea of it being like right here. Or maybe it should be more in one piece. Yeah, more in one piece I think is better. So we'll put it like there so it's balancing on the branch. And then we'll plop some of those on top. Just to integrate it a little bit with the tree. We can even grab one of the branches to layer on top of there. Let me go to the tree tab. Grab one of these just to lay on top so it feels a little bit more integrated with the scene overall. So it's not just sticking out the top. Let's see, what other statues have we got? Yeah, I like the idea of like, oh, little wooden things have kind of just gotten picked up as it was building its nest. Nothing too big. I don't think we need any of like these things, just like some little things that might, because as I said, it's in like a smaller area, so it's probably just grabbed, you know, some little posts and things. Maybe I could grab some logs. Yeah, it is not a very effective protective totem. Certainly not. We can layer in some of these to make it look a little bit more organic. Just some twigs over top, so it's not just hay. Well, I imagine it was more like less magical and just like something that was painted pretty in the area. Okay, I think that area is, I would consider pretty done looking. I'm trying to decide. I like the branches how they are. We've got our corpses. Let's go ahead and integrate in some greenery with our object tool. So let's go to plants. And this might be the last little bit I'm due on this particular map. Shout out if there's anything else that you think would be like a nice thing to add other than our lighting effects. I think we're going to go ahead and just take some of these. Let's put them at rotation. Gosh, I always forget. I think it's like rotation 0 is the one where they're just facing straight up. Because I feel like with the grass, I want it facing all the same way. Otherwise, it looks kind of janky, in my opinion, to have it facing other ways. Yeah, there we go. And then we'll take this to scale. I want it a little bit bigger. This is overgrown grass. So let's take it up to 1 point. Yeah, that's fine. We'll do those. Even bigger than that. Let's take it to 3/2. Is that too big? Let's zoom out and see if that's too big. That's too big. Let's take it down to there. I think that looks good. Okay. We're going to drop it under. We're going to put it on layer 1. And we're just going to start grouping this up around our trees and on the ground. Breaking it up, looking like there's some natural growth in the area. Even though there's probably not too much growth. There we go. Just growing out from the green areas. And we're going to just kind of chain these together in a way that makes sense. I think that way looks nice. And we'll probably also maybe add some high grass One thing that I think is absolutely essential to encounter design is giving, even though your characters might not use it, giving your characters the opportunity to use the battleground to their advantage. So for instance, presenting opportunities where it's like, well, you could have stealthed in there. You could get behind those trees. You could use these levels to your advantage. Even if they don't use them, I think it's important to have those things. So like putting in some high grass, putting in some bushes, in addition to it kind of just looks nice to have those things on your map. Yeah, I just think it's a good thing. I like also, it's hard for your players to be creative if the space doesn't give them enough leeway and permission to do that, right? Like one of the biggest things I've found with players is if you put something on a map, make sure it's really there. I actually had that happen in a game I was running once. Somebody was like, is this thing actually here, this thing on the map? I'm like, of course. Why would I put it on the map otherwise if it wasn't there? That's just so confusing. But I think it's because, especially sometimes when players are used to seeing pre-built maps, which there's no harm in using pre-built maps if you don't have time to make your own maps, no hard feelings. But I think if players are used to seeing purchase maps and pre-built maps, they're often probably used to their DM saying like, oh, actually that thing isn't there. It was just on this map that I bought. So they might go a little numb to some of the things you build because they're expecting it to not actually be accessible. But again, like DMs, do what you can. If you are doing a lot by showing up with a pre-built game, like by running a game, whether it's a module or whether it's an original concept. So do what you can, do it how you can, because you're already doing the dang thing. Let's put a little grass here, and then I think that might be all I really want to do on that, because that's just like a little bit of texture we're adding in. I think I'm going to add in some plants as well. I don't know exactly. I want like some bushes, which these are great, but they've got berries, so I want to make them look gray and gross, because this is a very, this is Ravenloft. It's not a place you're seeing lovely stuff everywhere. Yeah, that's nice. Maybe some over here, since there's quite a bit of plant life there. I like grouping those together, building these up against the wall. Yeah. Okay. I really love this plant. This is one of my favorite plants to use when I'm building a set piece. Like I love using it as vines. I don't think it necessarily makes sense to use it as vines here, but I might take it and drop it under to just add some texture to the plant life here. So we'll just drop it underneath so it looks like it also helps thicken up and connect this grass. So I'm more likely to buy that, like, oh, that's not just grass, it's pretty tall grass. So like if you dropped prone, you'd be able to potentially slither up through the grass without being spotted, which is the kind of exact kind of thing I want a player to be asking me if they can do, because that just makes me happy. It makes me happy when they see things and come up with ideas. I'm just so proud of them. Yeah, so we'll use this to kind of thicken up. This makes it look a little bit richer. Maybe there's like ferns as well as the grasses. Yeah. Little pirate voice. Yeah, and that's not like, I mean, if they wanted to crawl through that helps some. This could get them here. That's a nice little cover line from which they can like evaluate the situation, but it's not going to get them like all the way up here, right? But they could potentially have enough cover to get to a wall and climb up. I kind of like the idea of like this tree seems like the most obvious place to crawl up. So I'll create a little bit more of a patch here that if they can get to it, it's not an immediate, path to the cliffside, but there's a way they could get there and then use that tree to climb up. you know, you're dealing with that raven, like, a lot of the ideas is the raven's not necessarily being a threat, but certainly being something where that's what's going to set them off. It's not that the monster immediately spawns you, it's that you disturb the ravens and now they've scattered, and now the little bloodseekers are curious about what's going on over there. Makes the set feel really alive. Yeah, I'll throw another bush over here. I'm gonna have to adjust that because the trees are in the wrong place. And I'll add some more bushes over here too. I don't want it to be on top of that tree though. So there's a little bit of like a bush clump that you could use to your advantage. Possibly hiding from the creatures. Uh-oh, we lost our little bird to front. Cool. Yeah, I mean, I think that looks really good. Let's zoom out. Yeah, I mean, that looks really great. Let's see what I'm going to start working on lighting. I'm going to say this is almost last call. If you've got any ideas for stuff to throw on this map, feel free to shout them out if you have any things that you think might, you know, add to the ambiance, elements that I'm not thinking of. I need to add on a couple more plants over here because I got to add my vines. There. Undo, drop that under, and then maybe one bush up here. Right there, that they can get a little bit of cover by. I mean, it's not huge, not great coverage. Okay. That looks great. If I do say so myself, I enjoy this. Cool. We could also, I'm trying to think if there's anything else worth throwing in here. We could throw in some like dead leaves if we wanted to throw in leaves. We got vines. We got this stuff. Might be nice. Let me just throw that under. We'll just do like a nice scattering of dead leaves. Just to add some texture to it. Should probably put them actually underneath trees, or that doesn't really make sense. Just to add some texture of this being a real. Makes it look nice and foresty. Oop, under. You know, so it's probably these trees maybe have really sparse leaves and foliage in the warmer months of Ravenloft. But at this time of year, there's not much to speak of. Yeah. Nice. That's some nice texture. Okay, let's start messing with our lighting, which is my favorite magical tool. In my opinion, one of the greatest inventions of Dungeon Draft is just how intuitive this is. So we know there's a cliffside on the right side of the screen, so we're not going to have light coming in from there. So I think we're going to be probably dealing with like a soft moon dusk light. It's Ravenloft. It's never sunny here, so we're going to do some nice blues and probably maybe purples, or maybe we'll start with like an ambient. Let's just do a blue. Nice. So it's like a nice moonlit area. I think we can even take it more blue. I think fantasy should be saturated. You know, things should be colorful. It shouldn't be drab. I'm very against the whole move of like, I like dark fantasy, but you know, if I had to choose color tones and stuff, it would definitely be, what's the term? Pastel goth, or like neon goth. I think is, if you're gonna go dark, have fun with it. Like at least be having a good time. What else are we here for? I don't like the full ambient colors because it tends to be a little bit, I don't know, it affects the color too much in my opinion. I think we need a nice ambient wash. That's a little too dark, but I don't want to lose the colors here because we don't have any like organic lighting sources here. Maybe I'll put like I could put like a little wall in here to create like light coming out of the tunnel a little bit. That could be cool. Not that there's really light in there, but just for more the effect. Yeah, I think I like that. Okay, let's do that, and let's increase our intensity a little bit. What is that? 0.8? What does it look like at 1? Boo. I get so nervous about putting the intensity up to 1 because it's so bright. Oh, uh-oh. I got rid of it. There we go. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that might work. Am I speaking in sense yet? See, if you make the colors too saturated, it starts to look, it starts to affect the color of the map in a negative way. I think this looks fine right now. Ooh, kind of like that. Like bringing the little purple in from this way. So a little wash. And then I think I am going to do my little wall trick. So let's take, what's the best way to do this? Wall. And then I'm going to hide this wall. So we're not going to really, I'm going to try and like almost put it off the map and underneath things. So we're going to turn the shadow on. Let's try and like just put it right like underneath this here. We'll probably move this tree over actually to like put it over top, and then we'll use that tree to hide it. And then we'll just put this there. And then I'm going to take this path tool and I'm going to put it, ooh, okay, so this is going to get complicated, but I think it's worth it. It's worth it, everybody. Okay, we're going to take this and we're going to put this on above walls. We're going to shift it, take off snapping, so it's kind of hiding that wall. That is hiding that wall enough. Now this I need to move to above walls, but this is going to mess up some of my other stuff I have built here, so I'm going to have to figure that out. Maybe there's a better way to do this. A dilemma. Truly a dilemma. Do I make it harder for myself, easier for myself? I could also just add on another path on above walls. Let's see if I can do that. Above walls. Okay. Here we go. That's a little trick. I think that's pretty convincingly hidden. And then we're going to have to move this to above walls as well, which means we're going to have to move our little raven to above walls. I just didn't want to mess with that on the one with the hive. That seemed like a lot of complicated stuff to move around. Okay, cool. And now what I'm going to do is, now that I have that wall built in, if I plop a light back there, it's going to get a cool directionality. Ooh. Okay, but we're going to have to make that smaller. Maybe bigger intensity. And we'll just drop that down. I think that's like a nice, maybe there's a weird crystal cave in there. We'll make that like a little bit more yellow. And then, okay, this is going to take a little bit of experimentation. So let's see what we got. Let's back it out. Okay, that looks really cool, but we just got to figure out a way so it's not, I think that's the angle right there. So let's just mess with these walls now. Edit points. Zoom in. Okay. We're going to put this like this. There we go. And then we're going to bring that over there. Hey, we did it. This actually makes me wonder, can I just do this? I'll just move it slightly off screen, and then I can get rid of this path as well. So let me just paths. Delete. Yeah, that works great. Look at that. That looks so fun. Look at that lights. Maybe there's like a cool glowing crystal cave. I do think I need a little bit more ambient light on the nest just because we built it. I want it to look nice. I'll probably, because I'm a sucker for it, I will probably add a faint runic glow to, thank you. The purple is very tasty. Purple is a tasty color. We're going to take some nice like pinks, I think, and I'm going to shrink this way down, and I'm going to lower the intensity just to give this like little, you know, it's broken, but maybe it's still a little bit magical. I actually have a really good place that this could be from for the thing that this item has been stolen from. So yeah, that adds that. Nice. And then I'm gonna add a ooh, wait, I used the wrong one. For this one when I'm doing these sort of mystical effects, because it gives it a little bit more of a shimmer because it has the point at the center. Nice. Yeah, it looks like it's faintly glowing. And then we're gonna take this and I'm gonna just do just a white, honestly. We're gonna make it a little bit bigger and then we're gonna lower the intensity just so we can drop in a little bit of a light here so we can see it without messing with the colors too much. See, that's too much, I think. Weird way, even though I can't mess with the intensity. Ooh, is that what we wanted? That looks really nice. And it fades out nicely. That might be it. That might be it. Oh my god, look at all those little lights. I always have so many little light things on my map by the end, especially when I'm doing a more complicated one. I like that. I might add more wash here because this purple's a little intense, but it does look good. Let's zoom in more. You know, that purple does look pretty good. I think it's a little intense for me. So I'm going to back out a little bit and I'm going to move this one. I'm just going to move it. Filters. Let's just mess with our lights. We're going to pull this guy back a little bit. Let's move him right here. And then we'll do the same thing with the blue is a little bit more natural, so it doesn't bother me as much. I am going to then just go to my ambient light and just see if I can. No, it's every time I mess with ambient light, I'm never happy with it. I have to tell myself, and then I'm just gonna, you know, I'm just gonna make that a little bit bigger, so it just kind of fills this space. Yeah, that looks nice. I think that's what I want right there. You know, I actually, as soon as I said that, I was wrong. I'm going to put another one over here too, just to fill out that light around the tree. And I'll put one here just to highlight that, you know, this is more of a painterly way of doing it. Obviously, there wouldn't realistically be a light here, but I want the players to see that that's there. Okay, so we're going to zoom in. Let's get rid of that so we can see what we're looking at. And I think that looks really nice. I mean, do I have anything I would change? Probably not. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I might add or do. I don't necessarily think so. I think that's what I want for here. I don't think there's anything else I want on this. Yeah, I'm looking at it. I've got some fun encounter-like thing. They got these trees that you can climb of various heights. They've got a way to get up here. They've got a possible back entrance. Got the minions over here. The main nest. Just do some measuring things just to like check. So 60 feet of movement, 40 feet of movement is it's 8 squares. So like this is, I think our big creature is, you know, has like 60 feet of movement. So 10 squares. So it can move that far in one turn, which is not with one movement action. So it could possibly move further if it wanted. I like that. I think as long as the map is big enough that it takes at least 3 movement actions to get from side to side, that's a pretty decent sized map, because any more than that, any less than that, your creature's going to feel like it has nowhere to go. Any less than that, I feel like it, or any more than that, it's going to feel like it can get way too far away from your players. And there's, on a metagame level, you want your creatures to be able to kind of stay all in one spot. You don't want them spreading out so much that there's no encounter possible and it's really more of a chase scene. Unless you're going for a chase scene, but usually you don't need a map for something like that. Cool. I think I'm going to go ahead and save this. I don't think you'll see my little pop-up, but I'm going to call this Battle Map 1. And I'm going to hold on to that for now. Cool. Is it fascinating watching me type into an invisible nothingness? Okay. Let's make our next map. We're making good time. We got a bit of an hour left. We might not finish this second map. I'm going to go with... Honestly, I'm going to keep my map the same size. I was really happy with this. What are you laughing at, Levi? Plus 10? I don't know what that means, but thank you. Oh, wait. I made it wrong because we shrunk it. And it shrunk... We didn't shrink it. So let's... -10. -10. Okay, great. Now this is actually a little bit of a settlement that has been dealing with some nasty creature activity. So we're gonna have a little bit of a cottage here, as well as a barn and some like farmland. Like this is a lone cottage in the woods, where that has been beset by some creatures. So that is this other encounter we're gonna be dealing with. I am going to say we're going to have a little cottage. So let's do our building tool. I think it's definitely going to be wood. You're in a forest. Most likely this person probably, chopped their own trees to build their own house. Not sure if it matters to me. What's the difference between these two? These look the same. Maybe they're a little fancy. I think this character is a little bit of a mess. They're outdoorsy. They're a little unpredictable. This is going to be one of the main NPCs, whether or not they're alive, but their character is one of the main NPCs of this one shot. So I think showing a little bit of personality. Let's do like a nice faded wood. We're in Ravenloft. I'm going to make it like a nice ruddy faded brown wood. I feel like they'd have dark wood environments here, but you have to make them you do need to make them slightly different colors, otherwise they don't look good. It makes it look a little too monochrome. So I'm going to do that for the floor, and I'm actually going to switch this one. I'm going to make this more like a lighter gray. I'll still keep it in those Ren tones, but we'll put it maybe here. Watch me be super indecisive. Okay. As I adjust it by points. Little square house, little round house. It is definitely like it's a one room cottage. They're the only person who lives here. I will say maybe I need to map out some of the other environment first, since once we build a building tool on here, we can't move it. So what I'm going to do actually, for the sake of working through this, is I am going to make the house with a roof, because you can move the roof tool. 6x6 is 30. It's a decent size for a one room cabin. Oop, I don't want that one. I don't want that shape. I want that shape. Nope, I don't want that shape. I want this shape. I want the simple roof. I was looking for the simplest roof. I feel like, yeah, that's a decent size for a little one room cabin, because that's enough room for a bed, a little kitchen area. I mean, this person keeps all their stuff in there, but it's just them. So I feel like that's a perfectly reasonable space. If you split it up into little fourths, I think each space of that could, easily fit. It's not like this. Unfortunately, it's not like this person has many guests. So I'll use that as a placeholder. We're going to be doing the same. It's the same forest. Obviously, it's a one shot. We're staying pretty close to home. So we're going to be using the same terrain as we did in the other map. So let's go ahead and just do that quickly. We'll drop over to our terrain brush. We'll go ahead and make this swamp, and then we're going to accent it with our dry grass and our what was the other one we used? Whew, gravel, rocky terrain. No, we used gravel. So we'll use that as well. Yeah, so we'll do that. We'll build that up as we go once we know where. I don't need to export. Once we know where everything's going. I do want this person to have some running water on their property. I think they've built like a little eddied stream that runs around, so there's kind of like a big loop of water, and then they've got a little, not outhouse, they've got a little like barn set up, and then they've got their farmland, and that's pretty much all that's on their property. So we'll go ahead and mess with, let's use, for the sake of just, we're not making it a river of blood, but for the sake of mapping out where the river goes, I'm going to use this. I think that looks okay, actually, just as a guess, like filling it in here. Keep seeing little plus 10s, whatever the plus, you know, whatever the plus 10 means. Thank you. I don't know what it is or what it does, but if it's if you're making it, I like it. I'm a fan. Let's see what we got. Being silly. It's hot in here. Okay. I think because we had the other map that was going this way, just for the sake of a little bit of like making it feel different, I'm going to make this, I don't want it to be that square. I do think it's the individual who lived here built the stream. So I do think it could be a little bit, man, it doesn't make sense really for a river to flow this way, but I think they kind of carved it around their property. I think that'll be nice. Okay, let's throw on another roof, I think, for the little barn, just so we have, again, our little practice thing. I think the barn will be smaller. Smaller and longer. Maybe it's more like a stables, because they keep any equipment they have. I like that. That seems like a nice little shape. So that'll be maybe over on the side somewhere. And then we'll have farmland. So there's maybe a path. Let's take another little path tool to do that. And we'll do that with, let's test out the path with like this guy. So, ooh, that's big. But we'll say there's like a little road that comes in to kind of a little, like a little, not necessarily a roundabout, but I think, I remember at my family's, like my grandmother still lives in a farmhouse in Indiana, and there's this little cul-de-sac essentially around like a rock with flowers and stuff in the middle, and that leads, it like kind of butts up against where the barn is and also where the front of the house is. So I think that would be nice, where it's like a road comes in and then there's like a little circular patch with like maybe a little like flower patch, I guess, flower patch in the center, and that's kind of like where, you know, if somebody rode in, that's where they'd ride up and then they could turn around. So that'll kind of come in from the center here and then maybe loop like that. Yeah, okay, so I think that's a good shape to be getting along with. I think the house will be here. We could even, the house being at the back of the property, or maybe to one side of it, the barn. We can also have little paths kind of leading off of here. Like this being like maybe up against the back of the river. Yeah, I think that's like a nice general layout. And then there'll be like a little patch of plants here, and then maybe this is a different growth of plants. Yeah, so they've split up their little yard into a couple different things. Maybe they've got like a little paddock of animals. Maybe a little fish, little chicken coop. I feel like that would make sense. This is they're a little bit of a hunter-gatherer, but I think they're an animal enthusiast, so they definitely have, they would definitely have some things like that around. So I think we'll put maybe a little chicken coop as well. So just a little chicken coop. We'll make it like that. Tiny little chicken coop. We'll put that over. So maybe on this side we've got like the major barn, stable, storage area, and then we got a little chicken coop, a little chicken run, and some plant life around. Maybe this would be more on this side, so there's more like plant life all in one spot. Maybe this is closer to the road. I like it being near the water, because also then for like clearing out the water, if the water's flowing this way, they could always shovel it out or like bucket water up to the stables more easily. So I think we'll do that. Little chicken run right here. Maybe we shift this. Yeah, I think we'll shift that over. Keep that at more of an organic angle. Nice. Okay, I think that's a good thing. And then we'll have the farmland over here. So yeah, I think that'll work. Cool. Okay, I'm gonna start messing with the details of that after I get a drink of water. Thank you for joining us, anyone who's here right now. If you are welcome to join the chat, I'm here for talking if you want to talk. Yeah, let's go ahead. We've got this to start with, this horrible bloody river. Let's actually start spacing out what we got here. So we've got water. I think I'm okay with the water being standard color. I might make it a little bit darker just because it is Ravenloft. We want it to seem a little spooky, and this looks that's a very tropical color for the water to be. So I like it maybe just more like a very pale, almost ghostly blue. We'll put this river up and around. I like that. I do think I'm going to move... Go away. I think I'm going to move it so we can see both sides of the river. I want to be able to see both banks. There we go. I like that because it kind of shows that the path rides up along the river. Then we can get rid of this horrible, horrible blood stain. Oh, this is so sweet. What a nice little place this person has. Too bad it's been struck by tragedy. We'll go ahead and... This is just a placeholder. So that side sort of looks out over the river. This is where they keep most of their little chicken coop, little animals. Little chicken run right here. And we'll put a little paddock, I think, for that. I don't want it right up against the water. Just like that, I think, is what I want. Should probably turn off snapping so I can make it a little bit more organic. Okay, cool. Nice. And then this is all going to be plant land. So I think I can get rid of, well, not get rid of, but I'm going to start messing with my terrain. So let's make this I guess it would be a gravel path leading in from wherever this is leading up, We'll make that a little bit bigger. I'll get rid of the path tool in a second once I have that sort of blocked in. Yeah, okay, that looks nice. So it's a very gravel road, which actually that's my grandmother was also a gravel road, so works. And we'll take that. We'll kind of fill this into the roundabout shape. Make that a decent 10-foot wide path. Probably didn't need to do 2 gravel, huh? Shout out Oma. I'm gonna go see my Oma. I'm gonna go see her in a couple weeks. I think next week actually. And then we'll have this path that kind of goes over there. This path that leads to the stables. Yeah. That looks nice already. I'm very happy with that. Something strange has happened here. I'm going to turn that into dirt so I can see which one is which. Layer that up a little bit. Nice. Just painting that in. I'm also going to take the gravel, and you can see the texture of the ground underneath the river. So another thing you can do is also adding that to a texture underneath. And since this was theoretically they built out this river like this, it absolutely would have, gravel and dirt laid in the bottom. Most likely gravel and stone laid in to where they dug it down into the ground to create the foundation of this little manipulated river. Which there would have absolutely been a river nearby that they probably just directed a little tributary off of. So we'll take that, bring that in. Also, I like the little pebbles coming up from the side. Makes it look like, a little crick, little crick in the forest. Nice. Bringing that around. We will, and this is what I don't know if we're going to have time for today, but I will be building out the inside of these little structures. But I just don't know if we'll have time to get to that today. So I'll do what I can. So we've got this. Let's start working in some dry grass. Way too intense. Calm down, dry grass. I'll make that a little bit bigger. Just sort of it grown in. Especially around the water, there'd be a lot of grass and greenery. And we'll be using a lot of the same tools that we used on the other map. Since this is the same environment, we'll probably use that same dry grass. We'll use, probably throw in a couple trees over the ridgeline as well. That looks nice. I like this too. It looks like little bits of moss and greenery coming up through the stones. I think that looks really nice. Yeah. Over there, over there. And we'll probably add a lot more in this area because that is where we're going to have like our little patch of farmland. So this we're going to expand out. Maybe this whole area is pretty green. Got plants coming up from here. We'll have to go back in and add those stones again. There we go. That looks good. We'll go add some stones by the water. Nice. Okay. We'll add in some stones around here as well. Just to add in stones out in the forest to break this up a little bit. Because that swamp looks nice, but it doesn't look, I don't buy it as ground unless it's being, you know, mixed in with something else. So we'll just add in some patches of green to show that breakup in the undergrowth. Sort of keep holding it down and wiggling it back and forth. Just slowly building it up. Building up the textures, building up the colors. Yeah, that looks pretty nice. Okay, I think for the what's it called? What are we talking about? Who am I? We're talking about the fence. We got to have a little fence for our little critters over here. So let's go ahead and take that path tool. And we're using the path tool so we don't have to mess around with whether or not there's any shadow on or anything like that. We can. It's easier to adjust the path tool to be under or over other things as well. We could certainly also build this with the wall tool with one of the ones that looks like a fence, but I don't think that's necessary. Though, yeah, we'll probably just do a freestanding gate on it to indicate where the entrance is. That's huge. I don't think the chickens need anything that intense. Let's take that down to much too small. Let's take it just to 1. And then I'm also going to adjust the smoothness down so we can see some like angularity in where the fence was built. Yeah, I think that looks nice. Yeah, I feel like this kind of goes like around there. Don't think it intersects with the stable, so maybe it just kind of, you know, this person didn't super plan out the land, so they just got this little pen like that. Yeah, I'm gonna edit the points to make this, there we go, a little bit pointier there. There we go. That's nice. And then we can drop a little door on there to look like the entrance. So what do we think looks the most like a gate? This one's always nice. We'll turn off unanchored so it's freestanding, and then we'll put the little entrance to the chicken coop right there. Nice. Cool. Okay. I think underneath the chicken coop, we're certainly going to need some hay, some feed, probably a little water bucket or something like that. Chickens can fly, but as long as the fence is high enough, it's not like they're going to be jumping out of it. Terrain tool. Definitely some dry grass around here. increase the intensity, maybe? Yeah, maybe it's come up from the river. That's nice. So this side is maybe a little bit more grassy. But the front of it is pretty mucky. Fill this in with some gravel. On the back there. Because chicken coops are usually like predominantly dirt. It's not like they have a lot of greenery in them because the chickens are just kind of picking and messing with stuff. So we can just drop it, you know, some more gravel in there as well, just to break up the textures. Maybe there's a little bit of stones leading up there that sort of dissipate out. Nice. Okay. And then we're going to want some plant life. We're going to want some hay. We're going to want some steps. Let's get a little ladder because chickens always have a little ladder leading up into their chicken coops. So I'll put this over here. We'll turn that. I think this one I am just going to leave as a roof. I don't think there's any need to show the details of the inside of the chicken coop. It seems unnecessary, as delightful as it may be. So I'll just go ahead and have that ladder there. Yeah. Leading it up into there. And then I'll also have... Let's see what else. Oh, you know what we absolutely should have is one of these. That's nice. Let's put that right out front of the door. They've got their little place they're cutting wood. They've got some wood logs along the front of the house. I'll leave these and I'll probably organize them a bit later because I don't, you know, we don't know exactly how the inside of the house is going to be played out yet. So I might slightly adjust the size of it to make sense. Let's keep scrolling. I definitely need like a feed. What is it? Stable. There's a little stable thing. I want one of these for sure. And I'm going to make it smaller because chickens they're not going to have a huge one. But we'll put a little chicken feed thing right here. Yeah, I'll just put it right by the door. We'll have a little water one. Maybe on the other side. Yeah, that's nice. And then we'll throw... I definitely want one of these hay bales. But I'm kind of just going to put this here to remember that I've got it. I probably will move that around. And then let's go ahead and throw some of that underneath there. Just to texture it up a little bit. And then, you know, maybe there is just like a little thing of hay in the middle. I don't know about that. Let's zoom in here. We can drop some smaller bits of hay. Let's scale it down. Just so they've got something to munch on. Show some texture to whatever that white mush is. Yeah, I buy that as a chicken coop. Absolutely. Yeah. Let me think. Adjusting myself in my seat. My family actually has a little chicken coop, and that's pretty, like, that's honestly a very nice chicken coop. It usually would have a roof on it, but I'm imagining this fence is just high enough that the chickens aren't going to be able to get out. Or the chicken run. I guess this would be the chicken run. And then in here would be where they actually are laying their eggs and all that. Throw a couple more of these on here. No, honestly, I'm pretty happy with that. I might look at just some other ambient... Oh, well, we're going to throw that on later. But I know that there is a... What's it called? There's some... Gosh, my brain just went absolutely blank. Oh, the dirt that we used on the other one. I want to make sure we can throw some dirt in here because I think that'll be a nice effect of like showing some dirt and grime on the ground here. Some of this stuff. There we go. Let's make that 0.1. And we'll turn the shadows off because why would it have shadows? We'll throw it underneath. Yeah, that looks a little bit gross, but not too gross. That looks a little big. There we go. And then Maybe just a couple more scattered bits and bobs of dirt and grime. 'Cause chickens can leave some grody stuff all over the place. I once had a job and I had to like I was like house sitting for someone and they had chickens. So I was babysitting chickens essentially, and I thought I lost one at one point. His name was Russo, and he was, I guess, female. Her name was Russo, and she had she didn't have all of her feathers, so she looked a lot like a plucked chicken. She looked like she was had just been electrocuted and was just constantly like wide eyes, couldn't fly or anything. But Russo was the most adventurous of the chickens, and there was one night I was trying to put the chickens up and I could not find Russo anywhere, and I was like, Coyote got her. I'm gonna have to call her mom. I'm gonna have to let her know that I lost one of her chickens. And I was really cut up about it, and I actually sent an email to the woman I was house sitting for, and I was like, I'm so sorry, but I couldn't find Russo last night. I looked for a very long time and I couldn't find her anywhere in the backyard. I don't know what happened. She might have flown away. A coyote I was like, but I will keep looking, but I just wanted to let you know. And the very next morning, I woke up and Russo was sitting in the chicken run as if nothing had happened. And I have no idea how she got in there because she was not in there the night before. It was very panic inducing. And unluckily, the owner had seen the email I sent before I got a chance to say, never mind, I found her. So she had a moment of just being devastated about the possible death of her chicken, only to be then relieved that her chicken was fine. Russo was a lovely chicken. I enjoyed Russo, despite her giving me a heart attack. Let's make this plant life over here. Let's mess with our vegetable patch. So we're gonna go, you guessed it, over to our plants tab. And I like these bulbs. I like these cabbages. Honestly, I'm probably gonna take a lot of these. We're gonna do this in a couple different layers though, because I like showing the dirt and I like showing like the grooves in the ground. I think it goes a long way to like making stuff look like it's actually plants. So we're gonna take dirt and probably add some dirt in here. Come on, where's my dirt? There we go. So we'll do this over here is like a dirt patch. Yeah, and we'll just fill all this stuff in the center here. Honestly, going to increase the intensity so we can make that go faster. Nice. And we're going to have this extending off. So this person's farmland continues off our map here, but we don't need to see all of it. Though it might be lovely. We don't need it. It's probably not going to be close enough to the encounter to show, and that's a lot more work for us, so we're just going to have it cut off kind of like there. Let's fill it in up here a little bit. Nice. Cool. Okay, and then I'm going to take these tools, which I don't know if... Let's turn that up so you guys can see what I'm looking at here. So this is one of our path tools that looks like it looks like a drag in the dirt, and I think it's really effective to use it if you use the grow and fade. It kind of looks like little dirt mounds. So like that, it kind of looks like a raised section of dirt. So we can do that and then plant on top of it. So I actually really like, let's zoom out and see if that's too small. But I kind of like, go away. I think it could be a little bit bigger. So let's make that size 2. So these are pretty sizable mounds. And I think we're going to run our ridges this way. So they're going to go like this. And do we want them spaced every 5 feet? Let's turn on snapping so it's easier. I want this bigger still because I think that is getting a little bit too covered up by the actual points. So if we go like that, it really wants to hold on to my clicker. There we go. And then we can just like this, and we're just going to go down. Yeah, there we go. Doesn't that look, I feel like I still might want it to be bigger so they look like they're almost running up next to each other. Let's put it at 4.5. What does this look like? Yeah, I kind of like that more. Yeah, okay, yeah. Now I'm happy with it. Take that and we're just gonna go down, creating these like nice dirt mounds. And then we'll put plants on top of this to show where they're growing. So I think that can be one click longer. This is so peaceful to just think of this person planting their little garden, their organized little plant life. Just so they can, you know, feed their chickens and do all that sort of lovely farming things. Yeah. Peaceful little drawing lines. And it really does give the impression that this map continues on. Yeah, and that already looks like a nice little ridged, like furrowed farm. So we're gonna now add on our plants. So let's go down to our objects. I think we're probably gonna use these. I really like these bulbs as well. What else is an option? These are certainly an option. That's certainly an option. Okay, so I think the ones I like the most are the bulbs. They definitely look like plants. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the bulbs for sure, and I'm going to change the color. So we're going to do select, and then I'm going to go with these. Honestly, I'm going to take these ones too, even though they don't technically match. I like the way they look. They're beets. We're going to take these, and then I like that size. Let's make them nice and bright. Let's make them like a bright yellow orange. So whatever these are, they're very noticeable. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna turn off snapping. They all are the same size, and we're just gonna, oh, look at this. Look at this cute little thing of plants. We're just gonna scatter those along. Doot, doot, doot. Okay, I'm trying to think, what else did we like? We liked these. We liked, I don't, you know, those look too much like bushes. I don't think that really works. So we're going to take these, and then we're going to do, I like this vining thing to create a sense of, thank you so much. I'm really happy with them. I've done this before. I once made a very elaborate vineyard, which is how I discovered this trick of using this path tool to create a sense of like rivets, and I used those vines as well as like a fence tool as well as some additional vines and some berries, and I made it look like they were grapevines kind of hung up. And I'll probably do one of those too because it looks really cool, even though it takes a little bit of time. I think that's enough of those. I'll do some heads of cabbage just to, there we go. Couple rows of cabbage. They like their greenery. It's a lot of cabbage. That's fine though. I'll just do like 3 rows of that. Nice. Okay. And then I'm gonna do this, and I have an idea where I'm gonna use these guys to make it look like vining, like tomato plants or something. So I'm gonna have these on the bottom, and then I'm going to sort of chain them together so it looks like a sprawling vined plant, and then I'll put some like pumpkins or something on top of it to look like, you know, how those are always, you know, how those are grown off of a vine. I really do love this plant too. I use it for everything. I'm like, what can I turn it into? Oh, it's vines underneath stuff. It's vines creeping up a wall. You know, I'm also realizing I could grab, undo. There's a literal vine tab, which also might be nice. Those look a little dark. I think I'll do that as another plant. So I'll take these, and then I'm also going to select, okay, so these I don't want to shuffle because they have such direction to them. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these and go like this, just kind of scatter them around. To like layer them up this way. Yeah. This is going to take a little bit more time because I'm doing it by hand rather than using the scatter tool. But because they're so long, they would create this really strange, like they might land sideways, which means the scatter tool would be useless because they wouldn't look right combining up like that. So we're just going to take that, drop a couple more of these down here. Let's take like that one. Can make that work. I would love to do a D&D campaign that's just I would love to figure out a way to make that fun and not immediately boring, because that's the trouble, is like it's funny to do like, oh, we're just gonna farm. We're definitely not in spooky nature anymore. Let's go back to nice nature, because this is a nice little farming area. Wow, look at that. Look how cute that looks. Okay, let's go to food and let's see if we've got like a nice, we got carrots. Got onions. We could drop some onions in here. What do onions grow off of? Onions are underground, aren't they? That might not make sense. Let's just look at all and see what we can figure out here. Do have potatoes, but that's underground. Are we still in spooky music? We are still in spooky music. There we go. With one click, Sirenscape can take you where you want to go. I think I might grab some of our colorable eggs. Also, let's throw a school of fish in the water, because why wouldn't we? Below water. Let's make them bigger so we can actually see them. Yeah, there's some fish in there. I think this is going to be our best bet for making food, and we can just take those and make them like orange, and they'll probably look convincingly enough like a pumpkin or a tomato plant. So let's take that. I think what we'll do is where'd they go? Where are they? We'll take these, and I'm gonna make these into tomatoes. So let's make these nice and red, bright red plants, and we're gonna go under. We're gonna shrink those down a lot, and we're gonna do it on a scatter tool. That was eggs, I think. So if I just look up egg, there we go. And I'll go. I don't know if these are all in season at the same time, but who knows how seasons work in Ravenloft, because it's always so nasty there. Put that over here. Let's make them a nice deep red. And we'll shrink those down a little bit. And even more. Those are... Well, oh, well, they're probably responding to the... One moment. Let me zoom in. I know what, I might have to just do the single ones, because the bigger ones I think are gonna cause me an issue. So let's just do these guys, and we'll shrink these down. Even, oh, I'm not doing the right one. I'm doing that. Oh, too small. That's nice. There we go. A little tomato plant. Just randomly grouping those around. Look at this. Look at this lovely little... This guy's really good at growing plants. Holy cow. Especially in somewhere that has so many, like... Has so many issues with stuff like this. And then I think for this, I actually am going to grab... Plant... No, not plant. Dining. I'm wondering if I can kind of take some of these plates... I could make that look like a pumpkin. Let me make that nice and orange. Yeah. And I'll make it a little bit bigger. I don't need it to be that, since it's just one. So I'll take this. I'll make it nice and orange. I think I got a really nice bright orange. There we go. And then we'll make it bigger. Yeah, that looks like kind of like a pumpkin. That's fun. Okay. Let's drop a couple of those on there. Not so many, because pumpkins, you know, they take a lot of water to grow. So they probably wouldn't have as many as the other ones. Look at that. Look how cute. Look how cute that is. Okay, that's adorable. How dare I have put this NPC in danger? Sometimes I feel guilty once I start appreciating that they're a real imaginary person that I made up. Let's go ahead and take some farming tools. Because we need some... We're going to need some stuff here. So let's look what we got in here. Farm, military, mess hall, encampment. Because I want to have... I think that would make sense. They've got some sort of cart. Yeah, they would have a cart. Let's put that. Actually, for the sake of this, for the sake of narrative, I'm going to say the cart has been destroyed. Maybe it's been destroyed by something that has possibly attacked, and you'll have to watch to find out more. Watch on Monday to find out what happened to this poor NPC. But we'll say they had a little carriage that was off to the side here, and it's been wrecked. What else can we do? We can grab... I want to grab, like, some farming things, which I know if I go to instruments, they're going to have... Not that kind. Tools. Tools. They'll have some, like, little farmy things here, which I like. Let's put this on layer 1. I've been putting a lot of stuff below water level. That's not right. That's got to go right there. Come on. That's got to go right there. Shovel, maybe over here. I know there's, like, a bucket. I know this isn't, like, accurate to a gardening tool, but that's nice. To have a little pickaxe there. Little water bucket. I know they have sacks. So we'll grab some of these. Oh, yeah, for sure gonna have one of these over here. They've got one of, you know, some plants dug up. We'll make those. Maybe they've got some yellow in there. So it's either seed or maybe they've been collecting something. Let's put it right here. Nice. I can organize those in a minute though, and then I'll also grab a couple little sacks of stuff. You know, so maybe that's seed over there. I'm also gonna throw some sacks over here, but I'm gonna have them be a different color because it's satisfying to me to have variety. And I'll probably throw some sacks in the stable as well whenever I build that. Okay, I also want a little. You know, I want like a little log or like a chair that, you know, they've built a little, you know, they got it outside for sitting and watching as people come up. Maybe they've got like a little front porch, not like a swing, but like it's a little front porch area where they'd sit and watch people approach. Just where they'll relaxing between cutting things of wood. So maybe like a nice bench. Let's zoom in. Let's make that 0.1 scale. These are nice little benches. I kind of like one with a back on it, so they can relax. I think I like that one. Let's make it a little bit bigger. And we're gonna throw that, I think, just right out front here. That's where they sit and they watch people roll into their little area. Let's turn the shadow on. And then we're gonna shift some of this down. So we'll take this maybe more, you know, maybe this is in front of the chicken coop. This is over here. And can adjust points on this too. So let's go back to our path tool. We can edit points and bring this back so it's not, you know, right up here. We can have a little bit more space. There we go. Nice. Put that gate back on. We could also put I guess we could also put this right here. We'll figure it out. It's fine. We can figure it out as we go. Yeah. No, I don't think they'd want to sit right next to the chickens. No, maybe they would. Maybe they like watching the chickens do their thing, so they'll put their little bench right there. You know what we gotta have right next to that? Something cute. We gotta have a little planter. A little wooden planter at the side where they sit and enjoy their little plants. We'll put that maybe back here. I'll adjust that. I might put that on like one on either side of the door And since I don't know exactly where the door is going to sit on this map, I don't want to put it quite yet, but I'll put 1 or 2 of those. Let's not make them yellow. Let's make them a nice pink, you know, just a nice little lily pink. Yeah, that's lovely. Put 2 of them, and I'll figure out where the other one goes. I want to create our little turnstile here. So I think because we're in a forest, I want to take a tree. And I think it'd be cute if they've got a dead tree in the center, but they've decked it up with lights and such. So it's a little bit of a roundabout. It shows that we're still in that same forest, but you know, they've done a little bit to like make it look nice over time. So let's put that there. A little bit of dirt, not too much dirt. And then let's object tool. What can we put on there? I think there'd be little flowers they've decked it with, maybe. Little bushes. Oh, there'd certainly be like little bushes around the base, so let's do that. Yeah. That's nice. Okay. And then I'll put this there, and then so we're just messing with the layers so it feels like it all organically fits together. Because the ones around the base would obviously be like above the trunk, but they wouldn't be above the branches. What else can we put in here? I feel like we're gonna have... Well, mushrooms is fun. Oh, I could have done mushrooms in here. That would have been smart. Do we like mushrooms more than the lettuce? No, I don't think I like the mushrooms more than the lettuce. But those would have been a good sub-in for the tomatoes, too. I could have, like, shrunk those down and made them red, and they would look nice. It's fine. We'll leave it as it is for now. Let's see what else we want to add here as, like, little decoration. Because I imagine they've, like, hung little things from the trees to make it look nice. Maybe little lanterns. Oh, yeah, they've got to have little lanterns hanging. That'd be cute. So we'll put little hanging lanterns in the tree. Little circle ones. Little this one. Maybe that guy. I like that guy. Under. We're going to turn the shadow off because why would a lantern cast a shadow? We'll put a couple of those on there. Maybe they're mismatched. So we'll do this one a little bit smaller. And then there, and then we'll do another. You know, we could even do like, maybe they've hung some weird stuff. I like the idea of like they've maybe just been collecting lights. You know, they're just collecting little different light fixtures. So there's like a little chandelier there. Like that, that's cool. Little decorative little person. They've been building stuff up. You know what, let me shift that for a second because I feel like I want this to actually have candles on it so it looks nice. Yeah. So it also helps it match a little bit because all the other ones have that orangeness to them and this one doesn't. But with the candles it looks a lot better. Okay. And then we'll put that back on there. Bring that to the front. Nice. Yeah, so he's got little lanterns hanging from his branches. We'll drop that to the front so it's on top of the trunk to the front. I feel like there might be more plant life around the base of the tree. But that already looks really cute. I'm very happy with this. Devastated that something terrible has happened to this person since there's an encounter map here, but it looks nice. Let's go ahead and move this to the front. And then we'll plop that on top of these bags. Nice. So they've got their little setup there. Maybe they just have the one little planter. Maybe they shrink that down so it like is right next to the arm. Back. Yeah, so it's like just right up under the armrest. Do the same with this one. Send to back. Yeah, that's nice. It's just flanking on either side. Yeah. Okay. I'm feeling pretty good about this. I do think I'm going to go through and add in the details of the outside or the insides later. But since we're here, I will go ahead and build up, finish building this up, and then I'll do the lighting so you guys can at least see what the outside looks like, even though we won't have time to get to the inside today. Let's see. Terrain brush, I feel like maybe, let's turn on a couple more spots because I feel like maybe this guy just needs some like actual green grass around it to help it feel a little bit more alive. And then let's go to plant. And, what do we think? What do we think? Should it just be this? Maybe this is what he's got. To sort of build up the plant life around here. Let's go to 1. Yeah, I think that'll help. There we go. Just like a little grassy around there, and we'll fill it in. You know, I might actually just keep sticking to these littler guys because I can place them a little bit more carefully. That's nice. There we go. There you go, bud. You look so cute. We'll move the tree on top so nobody freak out that the grass is on top of the tree limbs, which makes absolutely no sense. And then to front. Move a couple more of these to the front. To break up kind of like the base right around that tree. You know, I think there should definitely be a bird nest in here. Just thought of that. Inspiration coming direct from Sirenscape. Hearing those little crows chirping, I think there should certainly be a bird nest in here. So let's go ahead and grab another one. Grab a nest, and this one will have some eggs in it. We could even just take this guy. But I like the idea of there being like that one right there in the middle, and then we'll grab a bird. Maybe this one's a raven. What's this guy just hanging out? Because ravens aren't bad. They're very smart, intelligent creatures. They're not terrible. There we go. Okay, let's zoom out. Yeah, I don't have any immediate details I want to add on here. I think I will go ahead and scatter in some grass just to break up the ground as we did in the other one. So let me go to, where was it? Plants. Where we are right now. We're going where we are. And I do like the idea of maybe the grass here is green. Like the grass is greener here because this person has been taking care of it. They've been putting in the effort to like irrigate it, whereas like out in the forest, nobody's doing that. We need the rotation at 0 and 0. Yeah, and let's do the scale to there. We'll zoom in a little bit. Yeah. We're just gonna break this up some. Yeah. So it looks a little bit nicer. Thank you so much for joining us, Levi. Hope you can come back some other time. We'll be here next week at the same exact time. And I will most likely have a guest that time. And we'll be making more maps. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about the one-shot that we did. But thank you so much for joining us. Those of you, if you had to jump off, go ahead and keep adding in little bits of grass. We're just doing finishing touches here. Love you too, Levi. Just some little things to break it up here. This is a little bit of patchy grass there. Definitely some grass along the water line. We can also add some little ferns into the water, so that'll look nice. Add some little grass into the chicken coop too, because they would have some grass. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna use this as like a painter tool here to fill that in a little bit more quickly. Nice. Oop. Cut into my greenery section. Don't want that. There we go. Draw it up the other side too. Maybe just where there's some green stuff. Over there. Along this way. Right in there. Down the other side. Yeah. I think that's really coming together. We'll do a couple over here. I will drop some of these as well in the water. Again, another opportunity for cover if somebody wants to mess with that. This is probably getting a lot of like nutrient runoff from the whatever fertilizer they're using, so maybe this is the area that's really pretty overgrown. It's maybe coming up around the back of the house. Put that along the actual bank as well. Nice. Cool. Okay. Maybe some of these over here, but not as much. Just a couple. And then I want to drop some trees around the outside because we're still in that forest. So let's just grab a couple of those and zoom out. Now they've cleared most of their own land, but there'd still be some of these around here, some up over the water, just to show that the forest is out there. Cool. And I think right now all I'm going to do, you know what? I'm going to add a couple more. Undo, redo, over. And I'll drop some here as well. Sort of flanking that path in. Great. Okay, now I'm just going to go ahead and add in my lighting. And this map will be done other than the interiors, which I'm also going to save for the stream. So if you want to see what the interiors look like, you'll have to come back for that. Let's go ahead and make our lighting choices. So we're also going to cast this in the evening. So let's go ahead and take out our blues. Make that range. I like the idea. Oh, we got to turn that shadow off. I like the idea of maybe there's more blues from where they're coming from. So over here. And more of a like a reddish purple coming from the direction of the woods over here. Let's go ahead and grab this and turn off its block light so we're not dealing with that. Nice. Let's zoom out so we can see all of these. So we want that. We don't want it to be too red because then it's going to start looking a little funky and it'll start messing with our colors. There we go. Let's do a little bit of an ambient. Well, let's go ahead and add in our glowing. Let's make these really like jaunty and orange. Our glowing lanterns, we're going to decrease the range so we can create little ambient points of light right there, there, there. And then we'll also create a bigger one that's emanating out from the tree as more of just a wash. So let's do that, and then we'll drop the intensity. We'll back out. So the area around the tree itself is like lit up from these torches in the area. Yeah, that looks so beautiful. I'm so happy with that. Okay, let's increase the intensity a little bit. Drop it down. Nice. So that whole area right at the front is glowing. I'll probably also add some lights coming out of the inside of the house that'll cast light out through the windows, but I won't know that until I can build the walls. I will go ahead and add in a little wash here, so it's not too dark. So I will increase the range, lower the intensity, and right there. And I think that is another lovely map. So I think that's what we're going to stop with for today. So you can see these maps again on our next Ravenloft Misfits stream, which will be on Monday at 7 p.m. PST. I will be running not a Ravenloft Misfits, but a Pathfinder one-shot. And you'll have to come and see how these maps get used. So I hope you join us then. If you joined us tonight, thank you for joining us in the chat. Thank you for being here with us. I hope you had a good time. I know I had a good time. So I hope the rest of you guys have a good evening and, you know, bring a map so you don't get lost on your travels next. Okay, Bye. Have a good night, everybody. See ya.